Do you know what Bitcoin is actually used for? Do you know what problem it tends to resolve? Well, I think there's something you should know about. In my view, an eloquent explanation as to what Bitcoin is intended to resolve and how he links Bitcoin as solution to the notion of time and energy. We are in this world to actually make a contribution to society through time and energy that we spend in our day-to-day lives, in working and so on. And what do you get as a reward for that contribution? The notion of money. So it's predominantly fiat, right? Whether it's USD dollar or euro or whatever fiat currency that you live, and that's the notion of money, right? And then he links that with he makes some kind of historical journey on how money came about. Well, it went back to the previous civilizations in the past, where in the case of, let's say, you live in a village, where there is this notion of bartering, which means it's like a simple economic system or trading system for the exchange of goods and services, because pretty much back in the old age, people had certain trades. So one was a fishmonger, another one was a grocer, another one was to fetch water, another one was responsible for fetching food and hunting and so on. And when they came back at the end of the day's errands, well, they just simply exchange each other's contributions and products amongst one another without the need for units of account, which is money, right? Because if you walked into a major supermarket and let's say you're a podcaster and you say, I want to exchange a couple of hours of my latest podcast for food that you want to get out of from that supermarket, well, they're going to care less. And that's how the money system came to be. I think that was very interesting and very simple so that anyone can understand. So that is how time and money is responsible for making contributions to society and how we get rewarded with money, fiat. Now, how Bitcoin becomes a solution. Not getting into the intricacies of the various properties of Bitcoin. It's a store of value, it has a fixed supply and so on. Bitcoin is a solution because it differs from many other crypto assets out there. There are 20,000 or more of cryptocurrencies. That is causing the confusion. If we're just concerned about how we conserve our time and energy against the abuse of the governments and the central banks to print money, well, that would effectively mean not just stealing as a stealth tax, but more importantly, they steal our time and energy that we've indeed have created for our day-to-day lives. Because they do this by creating money which gets overinflated into the money supply. And as a result, it's as if it's taking time and energy away from us, because that's where the currency debasement happens. Whenever you print more money or you create more of something, it actually devalues the rest of our savings that we've created and conserved under fiat currency. So that is the key point, and that is why Bitcoin is uniquely positioned, and in fact it is the only hardest asset that could best serve as a store of value, as the fix to this money problem that we have, right? If you then concern about, well, there's XRP token out there, or there's Ethereum, or there's Solana, well, they have different value propositions. They're not linked with money, which Bitcoin is, right? They're just smart contract blockchains, which is an entirely different value proposition to what we're talking about here in this episode, which is what is the solution against inflation, against currency debasement, against excessive money printing from governments and central banks. That is Bitcoin. Not the Ethereum, not the Solana, not the XRP token, which I'm not doubting there may be interesting coin projects in their own right, but they're not to be confused with money. They're not scarce, right? That is the point. And I just want to kind of clarify this for any listener out there or investor who are concerned about how to best conserve their time and energy. Well, certainly Bitcoin is the only asset that can certainly help you achieve that. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like button, to share the video to friends and colleagues at work. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. I regularly post interesting videos, anything to do with Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and the future of finance. So until next time.